It's the AK Option Trader back at you again. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everybody did well, and hope people weren't freaked out by what happened on Friday. Actually, I wasn't planning on watching the market too much on Friday, but after that Dubai news came out, obviously I had to get up and deal with it. So, and I actually stayed short. I should have probably sold several positions right at the open, but I really thought we were seeing a dead cat bounce there. So I'm going to be interested to see if it has legs on Monday. But I'll be watching it real closely. We got a lot of news coming out this week that could impact it. Chicago PMI on Monday, construction spending on Tuesday, and ISM index. Wednesday, not too much. And then Thursday, we got initial claims and stuff like that. So coming into December, we're going to start it off with a lot of news, a lot of action. So let's get looking at some charts. First chart here is the VIX, and you can see obviously we had a huge spike up on the VIX on Friday. On a low volume day, usually a pretty quiet day. Like I said, I planned on staying short through to Monday because Monday generally is a down day. But after this move like this, we're probably going to see a little bit of a drop here on the VIX. This is pretty phenomenal. Something key to note is we did make a new low right here, which would be Wednesday. We beat this low by 5 cents right here. So my thought or theory of holding up at a higher low did not come to fruition. We dropped like a rock. We took out this new low right here, and we actually closed a little bit above these lows here. But we did make a new low intraday on the VIX. After that, though, we took off like a rocket. We're up here, but I would expect us to fall back down a little bit from there. We'll see what happens. We could have some panic selling coming in on Monday. This Dubai thing seems to be getting swept under the rug pretty good. So, Abu Dhabi is going to come in and save everybody. So we're going to see what happens there. Obviously, that'll be a news maker and mover. And then, obviously, we've got all the news of looking at the dollar here now, the news of the Black Friday, how that went. Initially, the numbers were all good, but now I've been hearing that there isn't an increase of spending from last year. There's more people, but not as much spending. So that could really be a negative thing for this market. So keep an eye on that. You can see our dollar kind of got whacked out of that bottom diamond I was watching right here. I had a line here. Thought I would break up to the upside here. Obviously, it did not. Gap down. Both white candles just kind of held there. Then gap down again. Found some new support. Jumped up from there, obviously on Friday. But now we're going to see resistance here, and you could see resistance anytime. It did close beneath this. Sold off most of the day Friday. Very small tail there. On decent volume, actually, for a holiday. Pretty decent volume. So I got a gap here. We didn't even run into this resistance here. We didn't even run into the 20 or the 50. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us actually move back up into this line here. Obviously, it won't be as high as it was on Friday because it's trending down. Let's get into some of the indices here. We got the Dow. You can see there we actually reached up and touched, and it actually not as close as you thought, but reached up and touched this long-term downtrend that I've been talking about all week. And now we broke down through this 50% fib, but we're still above 10.3. We reached down darn close to the 20 moving average and pull back up above it. But this should offer some resistance, this 10.360 again, if we try to pop up against it. It looks like it'll offer a little bit of resistance. So I'd be looking for this to hold. I actually could see us dropping right back down to here. Pretty easy on the Dow. Okay, that would be super easy for me to come to terms with that move there. On the SP, or pardon me, the NASDAQ, couple key things to look at here. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my but we did my talking. We did gap down beneath the 2142. We did break the 20 and the 50 moving averages. Pretty strong move down. Pretty good top wick here, showing downward momentum. Almost a shaved bottom on this candle. Look where we finished right here. See this? Right at this gap is where we found support, right at the base of this gap right here. So if we can see some more volume and a breakdown here, I think this will be very minor support, and we could be heading right down for this line down in this area. So that'd be in the 2088 area or something like that. So we did bounce right off the base of this gap here, and I should have seen that on Friday. Would have been a good time to sell some of my holdings, and I did not do that. So in the S&P is pretty Pretty similar to the Dow here. I'll zoom in a little bit here, but you can see a pretty good tail here. Hit the 200 moving average, pull back up off the 200 moving average. This is minor uptrend line here. This I think would be a stronger trend line. I do think we are going to work our way down to here. You know, we might see a little bounce, a little update here, or we could see probably something what I'd imagine is a candle like this right here with a long top wick. So we could see an open on Monday, open up, and then pretty much close down is what I'm going to be looking for. That's what I'm going to be trying to play on Monday. And then the Russell came down and found support right here on this base of what would be a double top right here. Made a new lower high, and the Russell seems to really be breaking down. The RSI is trending up a little bit, but it looks like it's making a rounding top, getting ready to turn over here. The 20 is beneath the 50 moving average, crossing down. And that was the other thing I was going to show you here on the NASDAQ. I forgot I made myself a note to remind you to tell you. If you look at this chart, here's the last time the 20 and the 50 crossed was April 2nd. Look at this is the first time they've touched since that up move. All these big down moves, this is the first time it's touched. So this move is really flattening out here. If I take these off, you can see it a little bit better. So this move is really flattening out. We're not making as high highs. In fact, this breakout was barely a breakout. We made a lower here. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. If we make a lower here, I think we're really seeing a rounding top type of formation come into play. Okay? All right. So let's see. Let's look at a few charts here. I had a few lined up. Let's look at a housing one. I'm still short TOL. Lennar found some support here. LEN found some support here where we thought this line I've had in there for a while. Make or break right here. We got a spinning top doji. Looks like it should bounce off of this a little bit. But if it does break, I think we could see this move down to $11. It'd be a huge move for this stock. Very playable for us on that stock. HD Home Depot broke back into this pennant here. Pretty decent candle with a nice top wick on it. Broke back into the pennant after breaking out of it, so I'm probably going to see this thing trace back down to the 25, 60, 70 area, somewhere in there. Okay, SSD, a nice downtrending range here. Hit the top already 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'll be looking for it to 3 times it's hit the bottom, so let's be looking for it to test the bottom here. You know, we're probably going to see some support at this bottom Bollinger Band and probably at the 200 moving average here. So we're going to keep an eye on SSD. TIE, titanium metals. Nice pennant here that it broke out of. Had a little wedge, and it's actually not that great of a pennant. It's only got 3 or 4 touches, but it really consolidated here, and we had a breakdown here. Obviously, on Friday we'd have that breakdown, but what I'd like to see is a break of this 50 moving average. If it does break this 50 moving average, you can see the 20 cross beneath already. Then we're going to be looking down for another, at least $1 move to the downside. Probably finding support at the 200 moving average. So very shortable, very nice percentage play. We're going to look at a couple of spiders here real quick to finish things up. This strong move, strong volume. I know it's a low volume stock, but pretty good volume on a Friday, a holiday. That's pretty significant in my book. Obviously, the 20's been beneath this for a while. We took out the 200 moving average. You can see it's offered pretty decent support here. We never made a newer high on this up move. We never came back up to this line here. Took it out, and now we're beneath the 20. I would imagine that the 20 is going to hold here. Now you can, or the 200 moving average is going to hold here. You can see here how we took it out, came back above, and then eventually dropped. Now we're coming back from the upside just like this. So we're probably going to see the same type of thing. If it doesn't break above this 200 moving average strong, I'm going to be looking for this to teardrop or hanging fruit down here to 46.50 or something like that, bringing that whole sector, the biotech sector, with it. And XLP. This one is curious because it did break the 20, but we're finding support here on this long-term or semi-long-term trend line right here. So we could see this bounce off of here. We did hold up nice here, so we could be watching for a bounce back up to the upside. But if it takes this out, obviously we're going to look for support at 25.75. So that's it. Like I said, on Monday, you know, I'll probably be looking for, like I said, maybe a little start the day up, rally up a bit, and then eventually slows down. If we do, I think this downtrend is still intact. I still think we're going to be going to the downside from that. I'll try to post some more charts on Chartly and Twitter tonight. Be curious to see the volume if there's a huge influx of selling coming in tomorrow. So that'll be it for now. Trade well and prosper. But this will be AK Option Trader signing off.